First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. Thanks for joining us. We are live streaming here out of the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom. We're here every weekday starting at 1 p.m., and we're going to be here throughout the afternoon, so we appreciate it. Normally, I'm here by myself, but I'm actually joined by Adrian Thomas here today. Really appreciate you being here, and, of course, the subject at hand is the incident that happened yesterday, the shooting of two individuals by a federal agent. And this occurred yesterday afternoon, somewhere in the 2 o'clock hour, I believe.
It was just after 2 p.m.
Just after 2 p.m., and I'm sure a lot of you have seen what's been going on here. Naturally, we've been reporting on it nonstop, and our amazing investigators like Adrian have been looking to get more information from everybody, as well as finding out reactions from people as well. Yeah. And so that's what we're going to be doing here throughout the afternoon, is bringing you the latest on this. We'll also be hearing from Leslie Dominique here in just a few. We've got Ezra Kaplan joining us. But Adrian, looking at it from your standpoint, I know a lot of this yesterday was finding out the reactions, and you were at a press conference with a number of people that were there.
Yeah, it was quite a big press conference yesterday. There was Governor Tina Kotek, Mayor Keith Wilson of Portland, and Portland Police Chief Bob Day. They were also joined by dozens of other elected officials from Portland, Multnomah County, all the way up to state lawmakers, and a lot of other different community leaders and faith leaders as well. Really just showing solidarity as a community, as a state, in response to this shooting. This shooting, of course, happening a day after the shooting in Minneapolis, where an ICE agent shot and killed a U.S. citizen who was protesting ICE activity. Now, this particular case, what we know so far from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security is that two U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents were making a targeted stop of an alleged gang member from Venezuela. And when they approached the car that she was in, there was also a man with her who the DHS also says was gang affiliated. The Department of Homeland Security in a statement said that these two individuals were allegedly part of Tren de Aragua, which is a transnational criminal organization based in Venezuela that the Trump administration has blamed for a lot of criminal activity in the United States, and also one of the criminal organizations that allegedly was propping up the Nicolas Maduro regime in Venezuela. So there's a lot of, obviously, geopolitics here coming into some of the immigration enforcement. But we do know the identities of those two individuals. That was released just this morning, a man and a woman. The man is named Luis David Nico Moncado, and the woman is named Yorlenis Betsabeth Zambrano Contreras. Now, again, what we know so far from the Department of Homeland Security is that, according to them, these two individuals are affiliated with Tren de Aragua, and according to DHS, when agents surrounded them, they tried to drive off, and one of the agents fired his weapon, allegedly in self-defense, hitting these two individuals, and they are currently recovering in local hospitals. But last night, when we were at this press conference with Portland Police Chief Bob Day and others, I asked him for a little bit more details about these two people. Do you know anything about them? Do you know about their alleged affiliation with this gang? And Chief Day said at that time last night, local authorities did not know the identity of these two people. They didn't know their condition. Pretty much Portland police were called to the area once Zambrano Contreras and Moncado called 911 after they had been shot and sped away from the federal agents. That's when Portland police responded to the scene. The FBI is taking the lead on this investigation right now, but at the scene yesterday, Portland police were kind of there on the perimeter, just helping secure the area. Local authorities did not know that much about these two people as of last night. Now, this morning, the Assistant Secretary of Homeland Security, Tricia McLaughlin, went on national television and gave DHS's account of what happened. We have that sound, and we'll play that right now.
Yeah, we'll pull that up. And again, this is their account.
Yes, this is the federal government's account.
Yes, so this was a targeted traffic enforcement stop. The target of this traffic stop was a female, 32. She's a affiliate of Tren de Aragua. She is involved in a prostitution ring. As many of your viewers are probably familiar, Tren de Aragua is a gang out of Venezuela. They enriched themselves largely through drug trafficking, but also the trafficking of young women. The subject was involved in this. She was the passenger of the vehicle, as well as the driver of the vehicle. We believe he's a member of Tren de Aragua. Our law enforcement officers pulled them over as they were approaching the vehicle. When the subjects realized who our law enforcement were, they pulled forward, attempting to hit our law enforcement, and that's when our agent, he again followed his training and fired defensive shots at that vehicle, and the subjects drove 5 miles, and they proceeded to call 911. They're now in the hospital, but our agent, he practiced and followed his training as he should have, and we are glad he's safe today. Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, so that was the one side there from Fox and Friends earlier today. I
Yeah,
believe is what
yeah, that was Assistant U.S. Secretary of Homeland Security Tricia McLaughlin giving the agency's account of what happened. Now, it's important to note, too, in their statement about this incident, DHS on social media said that the woman who was targeted, Ms. Zambrano-Contreras, she was allegedly involved with a prior shooting in Portland. I asked Chief Bob Day last night at this big press conference, given all these details released by DHS, can you confirm any of that? Mm-hmm. What all do you know? And here's what he had to say.
I can't comment on whether or not that's the case. We don't know who these individuals are. We have not, they haven't been identified or shared their identification with us. And I don't know this. I don't know the condition of them at this time.
And again, that was last night, Thursday night, at a press conference with Chief Day, Mayor Keith Wilson, Governor Tina Kotek, many other local and state elected officials. So we're going to be keeping an eye out today. Now that the identities have been released of these two individuals, it's safe to say that local authorities probably know the identities now of these two individuals. And so we will be, we've asked that to we've posed that question to PPB today. Can you give us any more information about who these people are and what their histories might be, if any, in the area? So we're going to be looking out for that today. And I think it's really important for the community to keep in mind that as this incident continues to have more information come out, that there's kind of a divide between federal authorities and local authorities right now here in Oregon, because last night Governor Tina Kotek, when she was asked about any type of interaction with federal officials after this, was she briefed on anything? She simply said, no, I haven't spoken to anyone in the federal government. So it's important to keep in mind that the information, while we might get initial information from the federal government at first, it's important to also listen to what our state and local officials are saying in response to this, and what information they have, because law enforcement by and large in our communities is handled by local police, your county district attorney, your sheriff's office.
Yeah.
Other incidents go up to state police. Every state has their own justice department. Attorney General Dan Rayfield here in Oregon said he is launching an investigation into this shooting, and potentially trying to see if there was any criminal wrongdoing by how federal authorities handled this situation. So you're really seeing a divide right now between federal and local officials, and it's something we're going to keep following very closely.
Yeah, a lot to find out. And if any of that happens here during the next, few hours here up to our 4 p.m. news, we'll have that here on Fox 12 Now. Quick follow-up question just for you, and I don't know if you know this or not. Have we confirmed where these two individuals are? As far as which hospital, do we know yet?
We don't know 100% yet, but we do know that they are in local hospitals.
All right, okay, yeah. So a lot of information then still to be found out. Yeah. And as we get that, we'll bring that to you. So Adrian, thank you, for continuing to follow this and share that with us. I really appreciate it. I'm gonna go ahead and put up just right now, just so you can see to the pictures there that we do have of these two. Adrian, I appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to it. And we'll get ready here for Leslie to join us as well. But these are those two. And we're looking at also, some of the scene there from where last night, looking at, this is some of our footage from out there where we were following along with everything as it happened. But we want to also take you out there today. So I'm just getting us all set up here as we are live streaming here from the Fox 12 Oregon studio. And we're going to go live now out on the scene with Leslie Dominique, who's joining us. Leslie, just getting you pulled up right there. Let me make sure I've got your audio. Thanks. And Leslie, thank you, for being here. Would you mind just walking through with everybody, where you're at right now and what it is that you're seeing out there?
It's been about 24 hours since this shooting took place in this Adventist medical office lot behind me. I'm actually going to get out the way so you can get a picture of what it looks like. Much less active than it was yesterday. Yesterday, this scene was covered with crime scene tape. We saw both local and federal officials here investigating. And the focus of our investigation, or at least our footage yesterday, was this black sedan with a damaged front. Of course, we still don't know what that pertains to this shooting, but we're gradually getting more information.
Yeah, and just taking a look there at that scene, I think for anybody in that East Portland area, very familiar with that location, and I think there's a Home Depot not very far from there too, out in that area-ish. But yeah, so all of this kind of taking place there, and have you been able to speak to anybody out there on the scene at all, as far as what they saw, or anybody that may have witnessed what transpired?
Yeah, we've heard from a handful of locals, most of them in shock that this happened, as they're saying, so close to home. We've been on video patrol, trying to get some footage of this shooting so we can paint a picture of what happened. We weren't able to get any thus far, but we did speak with one local resident who said she heard the shots ring out. You can take a listen to that now.
So I was walking, and I just heard pop, pop. I'm not for shooting. You can shoot tires. You can shoot at the car, but you shot the people. So you bluntly shot in the arm and the chest. Those are like deadly points.
Yeah, and she definitely was a bit shaken up about it. She said that she and others were kind of observing the scene from a distant apartment complex, but they weren't able to capture any footage on their phones.
All right, so yeah, no footage so far of what transpired. I mean, we've heard a few different accounts, but that's at least, somebody there who actually heard what took place. So interesting to hear her perspective. And, you would think that maybe at some point that there's somebody else out there, but that is, a fairly, I guess for people who don't know, I mean, that area around the hospital there, can you just describe that a bit for us? I mean, is it a very busy area?
Yeah, I would say it's fairly busy. We can give you a kind of a look around now. You'll see that there's some other media teams out here as well, but you've got several medical offices, Adventist medical offices. There are also some sober facilities. We know that there is a credit union in the distance. We've also reached out to them, hopefully to try to get some video from them. That request is currently pending, but it is a busy area, but it's a lot of businesses. So we're not seeing a lot of residential homes. Maybe there's less folks walking around here. So getting access to that video that people would take immediately on their phones once something like this happens, it's been a little bit difficult. So we're still searching for that. Right, and
that is, taking place around in the 2 p.m. hour. There would make sense that there's not a lot of people at home or walking around in that section. Well, I mean, it's definitely, appreciate being able to see what's actually happening there, being able to get a visual on that. I think for a lot of people at home who may not be familiar with that area to actually, understand what transpired there. For you, I know you're going to have more, I'm sure, coming up. But I would imagine right now, just from the investigative side, it's walking around and seeing what you can find.
Exactly. It's been a lot of door knocking, catching people while they're walking out here, just trying to see if they know anything. We've spoken with some locals here who've been entering the parking lot, of course, with the permission of the security that has been manning the grounds. They've been coming to get their vehicles that may have stayed here overnight while that crime scene was fully active, so they weren't able to exit with their cars. Now they're coming back to get it. Other than that, most of what we've seen today is the security personnel here, maybe some investigators, we believe, maybe with the FBI, but that's about it.
That's about it. Okay. Is the hospital actually open for people who are going in there for regular service, or is it completely closed down?
We are understanding that the hospital is open, but this specific building, this medical office 3 building, we heard from security that any appointments out of there have been canceled for today.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Leslie, thank you so much, for joining us and again showing us there what's going on and all of the hard work of trying to find out more information. This is one of the biggest things I think with this incident since it took place yesterday is getting information and getting more, perhaps eyewitness accounts or perhaps people who actually, were around there when it happened. And so just really appreciate your hard work on that. And we'll let you get back to it. So thanks for joining us here on Fox 12 Now, Leslie.
Thank you, Greg.
All right. We'll, again, let Leslie go back at that. And that's one of the things, too, I just want to remind you, we have our reporters out all over the place working on this and trying to find out more information. And we're bringing that to you as soon as we can. One of the things we can do here with Fox 12 Now is do a little bit of a longer form segment, than maybe we can do in some of our other shows where just to get that look, get an idea of what it is that this situation, where this situation took place and what that looks like. And I do want to show you once again, too, just the pictures of the individuals. We do have this released by the Department of Homeland Security. And these are what they showed us, what they put out, talking about that. So we've been, again, bringing this to you. This is again, from Homeland Security. So this is their photos that they showed us. And we'll get you any information that we do have on that. We're continuing on here, though. I am joined now by Ezra Kaplan. Good idea. Let's go ahead and turn on your microphone.
No worries.
Sorry, running a lot of buttons here,
It's all
but
good.
we're making it happen. So we've got Ezra. As always, you've been covering this. I know from the beginning. You were on television for hours last night.
About 7.
Yeah, about 7 hours. Yeah. So thanks for being here. But talking about where we're at right now. I mean, I guess, can you give us the latest standpoint?
So some of the new information we've gotten this morning since we came off the air last night, the biggest thing is some details about who these folks are, and you just saw the folks on your screen. Now, what I'm working on today, just to kind of let you guys know what I'm doing, is we're trying to run down all the facts, all the things that have been laid out by the Department of Homeland Security as they have kind of slowly given us more information about this entire incident. And what we know from the statement this morning is that the woman who you've seen on your screen a couple times now, she was the target of this, what they're calling a targeted traffic stop. Earlier in the day, they were calling a targeted immigration enforcement. We know that it was carried out by CBP. So I do think it's important to recognize that while they're saying that this is a targeted traffic stop, it's unquestionable that this also had to do with immigration enforcement. In fact, we heard from a spokesperson from DHS just this morning. She was on Fox and Friends. And one of the things that one of the anchors on that show made clear at the very end of that interview is whether or not these individuals are under arrest, whether they're detained. She said very clearly, yes, they are still under arrest. They are. So as soon as they are have made enough of a recovery, and hopefully they are recovered, I should make it clear that we don't know their current condition within the hospital, but the DHS intends to take them into custody and move forward with any plans that they may have. They have alleged that this individual, that the woman specifically, was involved in gang activity and that she was being pursued As being part of a prostitution ring that she had been involved with the gang activity out of Venezuela, the Tren de Aragua gang that's gotten a lot of attention in the last, really since Trump came back to office.
Yeah.
And that the man in the passenger seat, who you're now seeing, was in the car at the time. Now, we've been making a lot of calls around town and trying to get to the bottom of some of the allegations that they've made, specifically that these two were involved in this prostitution ring and that they had been involved in a shooting earlier on. There's also allegations that the gentleman who was shot has a DUI previously. Now, we're really good at finding out information about what has happened in somebody's criminal history. So far, we're having a hard time tracking down validation or corroboration for these statements. And I think that's important because generally we have some rules around what names and what pictures we put out there for people who are accused of crimes. And we generally will wait until there are crimes that are, there are charges that are actually filed. You know, by the time a charge is filed, either it's clear and the probable cause was established by the police, or evidence has been brought in front of a grand jury. In this case, the only thing that we have access to is the word of the Department of Homeland Security. And one of the things that we heard from our from our city leaders and some of the state leaders yesterday at a press conference is that there isn't the level of trust that there once was at taking the Department of Homeland Security at their word. Part of what is complicating that is that a lot of these claims are being presented without any supporting evidence. They may be able to provide that evidence once they get to court, but the reality is that the messaging is moving so fast here. And that's not just from the local perspective, that's also from DHS's perspective. Within a couple hours after this happened, they started putting out statements on social media, making some pretty serious claims about what these two individuals were involved with. We don't have any ability to fact check that, well, I shouldn't say that. We do have ability to fact check that. We aren't finding the documents. We aren't finding the court records. Our sources aren't confirming to us yet very much of what DHS is alleging. And so, you know, I think it's important to set out kind of what we do know and what we don't know, and the pace at which the messaging is coming out. Oftentimes, in a situation like this, as we're seeing, the messaging moves much faster than the actual facts on the ground necessarily warrant. And that's because we live in a very political moment. An incident like this is inherently going to be politicized. And so, you know, it's my job, and what we're trying to do today is cut through some of that messaging from both sides of this, from some of the local officials and from the federal agencies, and try to figure out who these folks are, what they're being alleged, what they're being accused of, and what are the facts that surround this incident that left two people with gunshot wounds in the hospital.
Yeah, and getting to that bottom line and some documentation, if you know, of nothing else. And there was another allegation that I believe this is from Homeland Security, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Sure.
But that one of these individuals was involved in a previous shooting.
That's right.
And this is one of the things that they had said.
Yeah, and so one of the things they said is that the individual had a DUI and had been involved in a previous shooting in, well, they didn't say that it was in Portland, that they had been involved in a previous shooting. We aren't able to corroborate either of those facts. We're still trying to find it out. We know that we're going to be hearing from Portland Police later on today, and hopefully we'll get some more information. But, you know, until then, we're working the phones, trying to call folks and dig in every way we can. But it's tough because, as I said earlier, the messaging moves much faster than the facts.
Right, and I think that's important for everybody at home too, because it, you know, I think anybody can kind of fall victim to that if you're maybe on social media, you know, you see something coming out. But that's why, you know, Ezra and our team are doing this work of really getting you the actual information and verifying, you know, what some of these things are.
And one thing that we've been really clear and will continue to be very clear about is what we don't know. Because in these kinds of situations where breaking news happens and they develop very fast, sometimes it's just as important to know what we don't know as what we do know. And so we're going to try to differentiate and make that clear as we move forward.
And one thing, and I was talking to Adrian about this just earlier, just to clarify too, because we know these two individuals from what I understand, did go to hospitals.
Yes.
Do we know which hospitals?
No.
We don't know that. So that's it. I mean, there is a lot that we don't know.
There's a lot that we don't know. There's some initial reporting that we're still trying to track down, but
we
nobody's
don't know
told
their
us.
conditions
We don't know
either,
their
do we?
conditions. We don't know which hospitals they're at. So there's just still a lot of outstanding questions.
Well, I appreciate all of your hard work and everybody's hard work of digging through this and trying to find this out and get this information. And that's what we'll be doing here, is bringing that to you as soon as we have. I mean, if this Fox 12 Now, this is the show that you're watching. If this is your first time watching, we're live streaming, which means we can take a little bit more time, and kind of go into this and have, people like Ezra over here to actually talk about, the work that they're doing and bringing you this info. But it also means if there's breaking news, we can bring that to you right away too. So we'll have that for you. As you mentioned, we're hoping to hear from the Portland Police at some point this afternoon. So if that happens and that's something we can carry, we'll bring that to you also. So a lot more to be found out for sure on what's going on with this. And it's been a very busy last 3 days across the country. And
it has.
It's continuing on right here. So, well, Ezra, thank you.
Absolutely.
For having time. I really appreciate that. And for everybody watching, we are going to continue on. We'll, as I mentioned, if there's more information on this, we'll have that for you. We are going to switch gears just a little bit if you're watching live. If you're watching on our YouTube channel or Facebook or one of our other platforms, you'll see this video end, but we'll be continuing on here on the apps. So I definitely recommend downloading that for your phone or Fire TV, Apple TV, Roku. And I'm saying that because it's an easy way to make sure that you're caught up with everything we're doing and watch after the fact as well. And we can send you those notifications. But we're going to switch gears and talk to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers after this about Mount St. Helens and some real concerns that people have up there with all the sediment coming down from that and actually causing flooding concerns, property damage, a lot of things. So we're going to talk to them about a plan they have to kind of fix that. So switching just a little bit. So if you're watching on the app, I'll talk to you in just a minute. If you're watching on the other channels, time to download the app and I'll talk to you then. All right. Thanks, Ezra.
Absolutely.
This is Fox 12 Now.